How's it going? My name's Teddy Giard. I'm an SPHS alumni. I graduated in 2016 and just recently graduated from Clemson University in 2020. My sophomore year of college, I was a co-founder and head of marketing for Kanga Coolers. If you heard of that company, we were featured on Shark Tank. And as of right now, we got about 12 full-time employees operating out of Greenville, South Carolina. So to kick off with the first question, before I even jump into questions, I want to give a shout out to some of my favorite teachers, Ms. Barnstead, Mrs. Cologne, Miss Brock, and then Mr. Moore, all awesome teachers. If you have the opportunity to take business classes in high school and you think you want to do business in college, do it, because I'll tell you that my first couple marketing and management classes were a snooze fest because I already knew everything. All right, so educational requirements for my job, none. If it's a startup and you're doing whatever you want to do, in reality, you don't need to have a degree from anywhere to do something that you love to do and make money on it. You just got to figure it out. And that's, I think, the key. So if you're good at problem solving, if you have a clear idea of what you want to do and you know how to monetize something for your career, you don't need a degree from anyone. You don't need anyone to tell you that you can do it. You can just go do it. I think kind of one thing I want to point out on that is there's so much pressure at Severna Park to go to a 4-year university right off the bat. I myself went to a community college for a year before I went into a full-time university. So there's nothing wrong with that. And honestly, I would highly encourage that because you don't know what you want to do when you're 18, and it's totally okay not to. What are other types of credentials or licenses required? Based off of the first question, your educational requirements, licenses are great too, but again, you don't need them. I would say that YouTube and Google are the best teachers you're ever going to have in your life, and everyone has that at their disposal, so take advantage of it. Always keep learning. If you're passionate about something, audiobooks, read about mentality, change your habits, figure out what you want to do and what's going to get you in that place. And I guess just to kind of beat it in one last time is like, you don't need anyone to tell you that you can do something if you really want to do it. Does this company provide training in the field? No, not really. It's just kind of like sink or swim. Every intern we brought on, they either crushed it or they kind of stunk, and then they either we either offer them full time or we're like, hey, it's been a good run, and high-fived them out the door. What are the skills that are most important for a position in your field? I would say the most important skill set really, and I think in my field, I think just kind of sums up business as a whole. Most important one, like your ability to connect with people, relationship building. At the end of the day, one of our sales guys on the team, he always says it's not about the people you know, but it's about the people who know you. And what he meant by that is, are you able to connect with people on a level to where when they meet you again, there's some common ground that you guys can go back to? Whether they can't remember your name or not, if they look at you and they go, oh, wait, we both played lacrosse, or wait, we both like to go hiking outdoors. It's way easier to sell to somebody if you actually have that common ground. I think the other thing is your ability to problem solve. If you see a problem in front of you, do you look at it and go, oh, can't be done, bummer? Or do you look at it and you go, oh, okay, well, I was never taught how to get through this, but there's definitely a solution. I just got to figure out how to do it. Are you going to be creative? And then also, are you able to test and be told no? I think that's the biggest thing. Can you take no? If you can be told no in your life, you're going to find a lot more yeses than somebody that's afraid to be told no. What are the various jobs in your field? I think just any startup. We're still a relatively small startup. We operate mainly through online sales. We got finance, operations guy, CEO, who does our head of product, marketing, sales, and then kind of breaking it down from there. So kind of just your main areas. What part of your job do you personally find most satisfying? I mean, the part of my job that I find most satisfying is the fact that I get to wake up every single day and work on something that my best friends and I created. Also that so I get to walk into a store and see something that I created on the shelf, that you can hear feedback from people actually telling you that they have enjoyed using something that you've created. And most importantly, that through a product we've made, we've been able to make people feel a certain way. And I think that's what's really cool. Like, our mission at the company is to bring fun and convenience to beverage cooling solutions and use business to promote a fulfilling lifestyle. And the amount of students we have reaching out to us saying, hey, like, you guys encouraged me to go start my own company, or hey, like, I didn't want to go to college, I went to a trade school instead and I started my own company. Like, that's great. Like, there's such a stigma to go to college, whatever. College is great. I'm grateful for my opportunity at Clemson University, but it is not for everybody. Like, and if you want to start your own company, don't call yourself an entrepreneur. Let someone else call you one, because that's annoying when people do that. But like, you can really pull off anything. And I think especially these days, we saw it with COVID and everything. Everything's online. The world is zero. Like, the world opportunities are endless because no one knows what's going on. So if there's a time of adversity, look at that as a time of opportunity, and that's completely up to you. How has your job affected your lifestyle? That's a good one. With any startup, it's a blessing and a curse. You love going into work every day. You get to work on something that you're insanely passionate about. That being said, there's no off button. We don't have vacation days, because if you're out of the office, you still have to work, from the standpoint of, like, if I don't work, something bad is going to happen. So the way I described it one time when I was speaking to a class of business students at Clemson University was, when you show up to work every single day, you don't have a list of tasks that you have to complete. It's not like a rubric when you're doing homework or an assignment. Instead, it's, okay, cool, what's broken and what do I have to fix, and where, like, the faucet's leaking, which piece do I have to patch up first to make sure we get as much water out the other end. So it's all day, it's problem solving, which I love, but a lot of people that stresses the heck out. So it's up to you. How's the economy affecting your industry? Like I said, adversity is opportunity if you look at it that way. It's all about how you pivot. It's all about how you want it to be. We were actually able to come out more profitable during the downtime because we were able to reposition how our company was. We took a hit the first month, a really big hit. We put our minds together and we actually repivoted and had the best sales goals we've ever had, or sales numbers we've ever had in the company history. We're seeing those doubling again now as we're even starting to come out of it. So again, it's however you want to position it. What sort of changes are occurring in your occupation? I don't know. I don't really know how to answer that one because it's always changing. You know what I mean? Do you have any other questions, Mrs. Barstead? You can fire away now. I tried to go rapid fire on those for you.
Oh, it's so funny. It's so good to hear you talk because you've had such a wild ride with your business.
It's been crazy.
And it's exciting. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like there's ever a dull moment in your life.
I get bored really easily. So
oh my goodness. Well, you took marketing marketing was your major at Clemson?
It was.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And you don't use any of that at school? Like, you could learn all that on YouTube?
Everything I learned in school, I could have learned online. So this is actually my one suggestion. If you're gonna go to college, I suggest that you get a degree in something where you're gonna actually learn a tangible skill in. So for example, like, if I could have done it again, I would have done like computer science, or most importantly, I would have done finance and accounting, even though I hate it. I would have done it because I would have now understood it. But like, as far as marketing goes, this is like a really big thing with college is like, so most people don't know that universities they make most of their money off of research. It's not actually teaching you. So, your teachers are researching stuff which students don't have access to. It's found in the textbooks, but it takes 2 years to write a textbook, takes a year to approve the textbook, and it takes about another year to distribute it. So by the time you have a textbook in your hand and you're reading it, it's already 4 years outdated. So we live in a digital era where, especially marketing, I think marketing specifically, we live in a digital era where like none of it, what you would put down in a research paper in 1 month is different the following month. And so it's so fast that universities can't keep up with it. So I would actually like suggest not getting a marketing degree. And if you are creative and have a knack for it, get a degree in, you know, Clemson offers a major at graphic communications, which is where you learn all the Adobe softwares, you learn how to code. Like, though we actually hire every single person from our marketing department out of the graphic communications department instead of the marketing department, because we know that the graphic comp people know more about marketing.
Well, that's interesting. And I like your take on the skill of it.
Yeah.
And not because marketing is very general. Like I went to school for economics,
Yeah.
and it's very general. It's hard to apply it sometimes. I mean, I have a lot of skills and I have a lot of knowledge from things, but it's not necessarily something that I can be like walk in and just do a job. Does that, you know what I mean?
No,
Like
exactly.
it led to creative process and understanding of concepts. But I always kind of was like, what am I doing here? You know what I mean? So I'm glad I have it, but I
Well,
do
and
see the
econ is
point.
really important. The understanding of like cash flow through the economy is so important. Like that's why like you should for sure take an econ class. Like that
Oh
was
yeah.
one of my favorite classes actually. But like, but what you're saying, marketing is the same exact way where it's so broad.
Yeah.
You come out and like if you haven't networked properly or made the connections, you're gonna come out of school and be like, okay, wait, now what? I
Yeah.
don't know. I like came to school because I wanted to get a job, and you don't really get that sort of experience as you would if what I always tell people is like once you get to college, unless you want to go to grad school and be a doctor or whatever, which like kudos to you, but that's not who I'm really talking to right now. Like when you get to college, your GPA is going to be, you have a 1-page resume, which you can typically have after college. Your GPA, which if it's not above a 3.0, shouldn't even be on your resume. And it doesn't even matter, to be honest, because no one's going to ask you for it. So remember that.
Mm-hmm.
But what are you going to have on your resume that's going to fill up the other 10 bullet points as opposed to where you went to school and what you got your degree in? And by the way, if you do have your GPA on there, like most people don't care. So that is something in college, at least. You need a good GPA to get into a good college. But once you're in college and you come out, people go, oh, so you got a 4.0? Oh, so what'd you do with your life besides study and go to school? It's actually not looked at as that much of a positive thing. People want to see that you, like when I told people like, yeah, like I pulled off a 3.01 because I was able to exempt 4 out of my 5 classes senior year because of COVID, which played in my favor. Otherwise, I would have had like a 2.6. But if I had a 2.6, like no one would have cared, even if when I was interviewing, because it was like, hey, I was in student government, started a couple clubs, like whatever. Like, people want to see that initiative, and that is so much more than whatever you learned in a classroom, because you can be the smartest person in your classroom, but if you don't know how to apply it, you're worthless.
But also from classes that you took and people that you met, this is how this idea came about too, right?
Absolutely, but that's what I'm
It's
saying.
also part of a network of things. Like that's what I know, it's skills, and I know you might pick the wrong, if you pick the wrong major and it's too general, but it's also where you are at the time too and who you're meeting.
It's about making sure you're taking advantage of your community. And
Yeah.
that was like the first thing we talked about when it was like, what are the most important things? It's like networking,
Yes.
taking advantage of the people around you. And it was like, we had knowledge from that class that we took and we went and applied together. And so that's like why I'm saying you can be the smartest person in your class and know the most and ace the test. But if you don't know how to, when you give the definition of an algorithm for a test, but you don't know what an algorithm actually is, you know what I mean? What's more important? Would you rather maybe mess up the definition on the test, but actually know how to understand an algorithm and know what an algorithm is, or would you rather memorize the definition? Both take time. Which one are you going to do?
Right.
Yeah,
Work smarter, not harder, right?
exactly. Exactly.
That's awesome. Well, Teddy, it's been so good to see you. And I'm so excited for you in your career. Father's Day is coming up, so I'll have to get a Kanga cooler for my husband for Father's Day. So
Absolutely. We'll be running some Father's Day campaigns. Last year we ran we had like a dad campaign where like it was called like dads doing dad things with other dads. And
lots of D's.
yeah, lots of D's. Yeah, alliteration. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, but basically, like, we had people submit like photos of their dads, and we like photoshopped
Oh,
yours, and had like
that's awesome.
we sent a dad like a trophy for Dad of the Year. So we'll be running that again.
Awesome. Well, so good to see you. We'll have to catch up again soon, but I appreciate your time and everything that you put into this. And thank you for always being willing to come see us.
Whenever, seriously.